but there does appear to be a malaise in this country about its government, and with the president's approval ratings are sinking, so are Congress. What can the Democratic Party do to change the course of things?
Well, I think one thing, we all need to understand that whenever in history we've had a divided government, it has never been easy. The people of this country re-elected a Democratic president and re-elected a Democratic Senate and re-elected a Republican House. And when you have that, you have different visions, different values, different priorities. It makes it tough, especially if everybody's playing politics all the time. I'll use the Affordable Health Care Bill as a good example. It's not perfect. It's doing some good. I think it's doing more good than bad, but we could make it better. But frankly, our colleagues are more interested in using it as a political weapon than they are in fixing it. And that's what's so frustrating. As somebody who hangs out in the middle, I would love it if we could get more people in the middle that aren't playing to the left and aren't playing to the right, but are really trying to bring people in from the edge and find those compromises. As I said earlier, I do see that we've finally gotten a budget done, we've gotten an appropriations bill done, we got a farm bill done. We have just finished reauthorizing the Head Start program. So we really have, in the last few months, done much better at trying to relieve some of the gridlock that has, frankly, made the majority of Missourians say, what in the world do we even have them for?
What do you think, what are the prospects of the Democrats holding the Senate in 2014?
Well, it's going to be tough. The map is tough. I've got a lot of my colleagues that live in states like mine, that certainly could not be called Democratic strongholds. In fact, just the opposite. Many of them are living in states like mine that have never electorally gone for President Obama, rather, but they have chosen the Republican presidential candidates. But these are independent, strong people. These are not party lackeys. These are people who have an independent voice. So I feel pretty good about it. I think the Republicans have put so many eggs in one basket. And it's interesting. I've been doing town halls this week, and I have had really no ruckus at all about the health care bill. I think more and more people are realizing that it's not what they've been told. And so I believe that as time passes and people understand what the legislation actually is, that it's a dangerous thing to put every single egg in the basket of Obamacare.
Okay, great.
One other thing, Senator, I wanted to ask you is, the rating of Congress right now is way, way low. Do you worry about that? Do other members of the Senate, the House, worry about their low rating among all the polls show that it's almost at a record low?
Yeah, I think we do worry about it. I think it has always been a historical fact that Congress generically has gotten pretty low approval, but individual members look at their individual ratings, and they are obviously much better than Congress as a whole. And part of it is just a natural byproduct of our democracy. It's a political system, so unfortunately too many people go to Washington wanting to score political points, and that's not always, it's hard. People who call my office, I always make this joke that people who call my office don't ever call and say compromise. They are usually somebody who has a very strong opinion, usually on one far edge or the other. But the majority of Missourians that I represent don't call my office, and they want us to be reasonable. They don't want us to just be scoring political points, but they're not the ones that are so passionate about it that they make the most noise. So Congress has a tendency, I think, too often to worry about the noisemakers and not worry about those folks in the middle that just want us to compromise and get the work done.
How is your rating right now? The latest poll.
I haven't really looked. It hasn't been done in a while. I've had probably somewhere in the last 15 years, somewhere between $30 and $40 million of negative TV advertising that's been run against me. It's kind of hard to stay the most popular gal in town when you've got that kind of money stacked up against you. But I try to, and I'm sure that I'm, not I'm sure it's not extraordinarily high, but I guarantee it's not as low as Congress's rating.
So, Claire, what do you think of no labels? Do you support their agenda?
I do, mostly. Some of it is a little gimmicky,
Are
but
you part of that coalition?
yes, and I'm also part of Third Way, which is I'm on their board. In fact, they tried to get me to go off their board. Some of the liberal people got upset with Third Way because they pointed out some differences they had with one of my colleagues, and some of the liberal blogs called on me to resign, and I said, no way. This is exactly what we need to be doing, is trying to find a third way. Not the far right, not the far left, but something where we can compromise.
Good.
Okay.